Hello friends, this video lecture is about your unit number 4. From this video lecture, we are starting the unit number 4. So, the name of your unit number 4 is the ethics in the engineering. Okay, so here there are the name is the new word is considering here is the ethics. Okay, how the ethics is work in the engineering life. Whenever you working in the organization or whenever you working for our nations as an engineer, at that time ethics is considered. Okay, so here is a new word is considering for you is the ethics. Okay, so first of all take this small information about it, that ethics means what. Ethics is the word derived from the two languages, Greek and Latin. Greek word ethos means character. From the ethos word there are the ethics word is derived. Then there are the Latin word, there are the more, which meaning is the customs. From this word there are the derived from the ethics. So ethic is the word derived from the two languages, Greek and Latin languages. Okay, so first of all, what is the simple meaning of the ethics? I can say that the ethics means what is the good or what is bad for the man or for a person. Okay, whenever person are working in the profession, whichever profession you in whichever profession you are working, like take the example here is as an engineer. As an engineer, whenever you working in the organization, at that time as an engineering post, what is a good or what is a bad according to you. Okay, so it's considered as a ethics. Okay, so here in the next slide you can see there are the content. What are the content of this unit number 4? So here are the content of unit number 4 are introduction, then the scope of engineering ethics, then third one is accepting and sharing the responsibilities, then fourth one is responsible professions and the ethical corporations, then resolving the ethical dilemmas and making moral choice. So in this unit number 4 you will learn about the 6 topics. In this video lecture I consider the first 3 topics. Okay, so let's start it. First of all, take the introduction from the ethic word. Here I consider the best example for how ethics are working. Okay, so here there are the best example regarding the our Gujarat. Okay, so here there are the one incident they are considering for this ethics. Here the peak of this the peak of the overall we can say that overall tragedy happens in the Surat. Okay, in the Surat there are the one corporation or one classes are working at the 4th floor, and here there are the tragedy happen at the May 24, 2019, and in this tragedy you can know that are the 22 students are made to the death. Okay, this is very serious tragedy happen at the Surat, Gujarat. Okay, so in this tragedy there are the classes, there are the claim of the claim there are happened by the students parents to the. First of all there are the main in this tragedy there are the responsibility. First of all there are the classes owner, then after the second responsibility of the Surat Municipal Corporation, because they can allow to build out this construction on this floor, and then after the third, and we can say there are the unethical practices is done by the engineer, that in this floor there are the only one way to the exit from this building. Okay, in the 4th floor there are the only one place or one way is given for the exit of the building. Okay, so is a one way, and then after the students cannot come out from the building, and there are the 22 students who made the date. Okay, so here we can say there are the unethical practice is done by the engineer. Okay, as an engineer cannot doing this type of work. Then we can also take the example of the fire brigades, that fire brigades cannot reach at the time. Okay, so this type of things are happen. If they have this type of facility to reach that floor, so we can easily save the students, but they cannot have this type of facilities to save these students. Okay, so here there are the best example which done in the May 2090, in the 24th May, there are the 22 students met in this tragedy to the death. Okay, so this type of unethical practices is done by the engineer for their selfishness, for their we can say for their wealth purpose. So this type of unethical practice is not done by the engineer, because engineering is a very good profession, and the engineers have the responsibility on the shoulder for the public safety. Okay, so for the public safety, as an engineer they have to work very good. Okay, I also urge you, whenever you working as an engineer, as a computer engineer or as a civil engineer, at that time you have to doing the very good work and doing the work with the public safety. Okay, then after, second one is what is the meaning of ethics. Here is the simple meaning is given to you regarding the ethics. Ethics means a system of the acceptance, the rules about the behavior based on the what is considering the right or wrong. Means what is the right according to the person. Take the example as a robber. Okay, robber has a ethics regarding the doing the robbery is a good for him or her. But as a civil person, as a civil citizens, we as a robbery is not good work for our. Okay, so according to the person, the ethics are changed. But as an engineer, why this type of ethics are considered? So in the next slide, you can see engineering ethics. Why should you study this type of engineering ethics? So here there are the meaning of the engineering ethics. Engineering ethics is the study of the decision, policies and the values that are morally desirable in the engineering practices and research. Whenever you working as an engineer, at that time you have to responsible regarding your work, regarding your policy, regarding your rules, whichever you done in the organization or for the public construction, whatever. Okay, then after, what are the scopes of engineering ethics? First one is the introduction, then the second topic is the scope of engineering ethics. So here there are the scope of engineering ethics. First one, engineering as the social experimentation, because whenever you working as the engineer, at that time society, at that time public have to be some type of the expectation regarding the new experiment. So you have to work with the safety of the public and doing some new innovatives and innovation in the routine life. Then after, the second one is the engineer's responsibility for the safety, because there are the main responsible of the engineering, responsibility of the engineer that doing the work with the safety of the public. Okay, then after, the third one is an ethical dilemma, which are considering in your syllabus. After this video lecture, whenever I upload this next video lecture, in this video lecture I also discuss about this ethical dilemma in detail. But here I tell you about the simple meaning of the ethical dilemma. Sometimes engineers have face some type of problem that what I should do or what I should not do. So this type of situation whenever happen in the engineer's mind is called the ethical dilemma. Then after, fourth one is a promoting responsible conduct. Whenever they have to work, then after they have to work with the responsibility, but with the very accountability. Okay, they have to work with the accountability. This type of work will be happen or whatever happen by me only. Okay, so they have to be responsible and accountable for the work whatever done by them. Then after, technological development. It is a very important, because whenever you work as an engineer, then you have the technological development whichever required for the public, whichever required for the organizational development. Then after, micro and macro issue. Okay, micro means what? Micro means small issues, and the macro means there are the bigger and highest, whatever the huge issue that are faced by the engineer whenever they are working as an engineer in the professional lives. So at that time they have to be a face this micro and macro issues and try to solve it with the ethics. Okay. Then after, moral value. Moral means you have to work, you have to behave very morally, very good behavior and with the ethics. Okay. Then after, here there are the scopes of engineering ethics. Then after, here there are the ethical and moral dilemma of the engineer. What type of dilemmas which faced by the engineers? Here there are the example is considering for that by me, that what should the engineer who observe his colleagues copying the confidential information unauthorized to immediately. If he choose to stop his friend, what if this gets to be repeated without this notice? If he choose to report to the management, then what if these friends lose the job? Which is the morally correct? Okay, here there are the engineer who face the problem that there are the friend of the engineer who are working with him or her in the organization, but the friend of him or her, they are working in the organization doing the unethical practices, doing the confidential details to reveal to the other parties. At that time, if engineer report this person's detail to the management, then management can fire the person from the job, and his friend can lose the job. And if he cannot inform the management, then after her, we can say that overall organization can collapse or organization secret can reveal or disclose. Okay. So at that time, whatever in what type of as an engineer, how is working, how he will work. So here we can say there are the morally correct is to inform the management. Okay, we can say as an engineer he or she should work with the ethics and doing to inform, okay, to the management. Then after, the third topic is accepting and sharing the responsibility. Okay, whenever they are working as an engineer, at the time they have to share responsibility and accepting the responsibility. So here there are the three main terms are considering by the engineer. First one, there are the intentionally causing the harm. In this type of situation, engineer know about the situation. Engineer know that if I do this type of activities or do this type of work, then deliberate can affect the public. Okay, so here intentionally causing for the harm means engineer know about the things and doing this type of work. Means he or she know that if I do this work, then its effect or its we can say harmful for the public, and then he or she doing the work. So it's called the intentionally causing harm. Then second one is a negligating causing the harm. Means person cannot know about the situation that I worked for this situation, in this situation I doing this work and is harmful for the public, but engineer cannot know and doing this type of work, means negligating and harming. Then after, restlessing and causing for the harm. Means in this situation, person or we can say the engineer know about the situation and try to solve the harmful condition and try to save the public. Okay, here I take the example of you can also see the movie of the Rustam. Okay, in this movie there are the Rustam Pavri, the character was played by the Akshay Kumar. In this movie you can see that the Rustam Pavri, who is the army officer, and he know about the situation that you can also see in this movie that he know about that the steamer or overall the army vehicle, what are the army's navy overall the navy's whatever we can say, there are the steamers are default. in default, and there are the various type of, we can say, there are the various type of injuries and various types of, we can say, that the fraud is considering in the steamer. But he cannot know about the he know about the overall situation, but he cannot say to the higher management. At that time he can take the all responsible for him. Okay, he take the all, we can say that overall the situation is considering by him. Overall the, we can say that overall situation is considering by him, and he responsible for him only. And then after there are considering the one case for on them, and then after he fight for their we can say he fight for him, and then after he revolve from the situation. So here we can say that as an engineer, whenever you working in the organization, at that time you know about the situation and try to solve the situation. Okay, then after, here is a minimalist view, reasonable care, and the beyond one's duty. So there are the three responsibility, or we can say there are the three views are considered by as an engineer whenever they are working in the organization. First one is a minimalist view. Means what? In this situation, in this type of view, engineer are consider as an engineer, they are working in the organization, so they have to conduct in the one type of prejudice in the mind that I have this type of responsibility and I cannot do the I cannot do the any work without my, we can say, without my authority or without any delegation is given by the management. Okay, they have to work whatever the delegation is given to them. Then after, they cannot doing the any work without their responsibility or without their order. Order is given by the management. Okay, so they can work only the duty is assigned to them. Okay, so in the minimalist view, we can say there are the very minor view. In this type of view, the engineer has some type of prejudice, have the perception that I cannot consider any innovative, or we can say any controversy. Okay, I cannot, we can say that engineer is considered only for their work. They cannot try to develop any controversy or try to develop any safety for the public. They can doing their work whatever they assign to them. Okay, then after reasonable care. Reasonable care means what? As an engineer, they have to work in the organization, and they have to try to develop some type of new innovation for the public. Okay, beyond their responsibility, beyond their task assigned to them. Then third one is a beyond one's duty. Means duties whichever assigned to them, they have to work their duties and also try to develop a new innovation. So here there are the reasonable care. In the reasonable care, there are the limited area. In the limited area, they are working as an engineer, but beyond one's duty, at that time they have to try to develop a new duty, new ideas regarding for the country, regarding for the organization. Okay, then after, whistleblowing as a right or as a responsibility of the engineer. Okay, here is a new word, is a whistleblowing. Okay, you can imagine what is the meaning of whistleblowing. Whistleblowing means what? I can tell you that whistleblowing is meaning sometime in the organization there are the unethical practices is considered by the higher management, supervisors. At that time, as an engineer, you have to whistleblow. Means you have to know about the unethical practices to the public, to the government, okay, to our nations, for the unethical practices what are they doing in the organization. So whistleblowing means, we can say, whistleblowing means unethical practices. If in the organization any unethical practices are considered, at that time as an engineer you should tell, or you should inform to the public, you should inform to the manager, higher management. Okay, so you should speak up. If you cannot speak up, then it's considered as the unethical practices. You cannot work ethically in the organization. So unethically practices is not done by you. As an engineer, you always try to doing the ethical work in the organization. And I also urge you, I also, we can say, that I also try to tell you that whenever you working as a computer engineer or as a civil engineer in any organization, and if any type of this unethical practices are happen in the your organization, or we can say any type of field you whatever you working, at that time you have to try to speak up from the unethical practices. If you speak up, then automatically our country will work very on highest, we can say, developing our country. You can contribute to develop our country. Okay, and I wish that you can do this type of work whenever you become a engineer or become a civil engineer or computer engineer. Okay, so I also tell you the one example, that from the Bhavnagar to Sisar road, from we can say from the Leela circle to our college, there are the road which is built by the government, and this type of tender is given to the engineers. So it is an ethical practices or unethical practices? Of course, there are the unethical practices, because overall we can say there are the tender passed by the government, and all are the funding is given by the government, but as an engineer they cannot work very good. We can say there are the overall roads after the monsoon, and in the monsoon season you can see there are the roads are already, we can say, collapsed. Okay, so whenever you working as an engineer and any type of any unethical practices are doing in your organization, then as an engineer you should speak your voice. Okay, then after here I consider one example regarding this whistle blowing. Okay, so here there are the example of whistle blowing. So here there are the example of whistle blowing. A fresher engineering graduate gets a job in the prestigious chemical industry. She likes very job. She likes her job. The salary is also very good. However, after a few months, accidentally discovered that a highly toxic wastage is being secretly, we can say, secretly discharged into the river nearby. They cannot know the government, they cannot know the any public, and they can secretly discharge this toxin wastage to the river. This causing the health problem to the villagers and downstream who depends on the rivers. For this wastage need, we can say there are the wastage is considering that the water pollution, and the water need is a basic need for the human being. So she is to pretend and mention her concern to her colleagues who have been with it the company for the longer period. So she informed to her colleagues that this type of things are doing by our company, and this is not ethical, this is illegal practices. So she informed to her colleagues who are working for this company for the longer time. So they advised to her to keep quiet, as anyone who mentioned the topic is summarized to be a dismiss. Okay, so she cannot risk losing her job, as she is the sole breadwinner for her family and has to support her ailing parents and the siblings. So here is the one girl who are working newly in the chemical industry, and she know about the unethical practices is done by the company, and if she know or she know about it, but she informed to her colleague, and her colleague says to them that keep we can say keep silent, okay, and keep quiet, not know or not inform anybody regarding this type of things. So she has also one type of scare, one type of fear to lose her job, because she is the only person who earn for her family. Okay, then at a first she thinks that if her seniors are keeping quiet, why should she stick out her neck? Firstly, she think that why should I speak about it? My colleagues cannot speak, then how can I do this type of work? Then, but her concern springs, and to do the somethings to save the river and the peoples who depend upon it. at the heart she feels that the advice of the silent, we can say silent, is given by her friends and is not correct, though there are she can not give the reason for it, and she thinks you are a wise person and seek for your advice. Here I also given you a one task. Here is a example for the whistle blowing. Then you can comment. After watching this video, you can comment that what she do. Okay, she inform the government or she cannot inform the government, and why she inform. Okay, so I tell you that here is a task for you, that you gave the advice to her that what she do after she doing the whistle blowing or not whistle blowing, then why. Here is the one task which given by me to you. Okay, so you as her friend, what type of advice you give to her. So you after watching this video, you have to comment in for this whatever advice you thought about it. Okay, so you have to write in the comment box that what type of we can say that action she take after this type of situation she face. Okay, so thank you so much. Here there are the first 3 topics of your unit number 4 are completed, and if you have any query regarding these 3 topics, you can contact me personally. You can also message me. Thank you so much.